Reports suggest that at this very moment, 6.7 million American adults are either incarcerated, on parole, or on probation. That's about the entire population of the state of Massachusetts, my home state. All of them will serve out their sentences, and the blemish of their mistakes often stains their future well beyond prison or probation. As a result, these men and women are often unable to find work with a background check showing an arrest or conviction. That's a significant number considering 640,000 people are released from prison each year. Every one of them will re-enter our communities, creating a huge untapped workforce available to fill jobs. Yet, employers are often uncomfortable hiring people who have been convicted of a crime. One study found that a criminal record reduced the likelihood of a callback or job offer by nearly 50%. The problem goes beyond just the lack of employment opportunities. Joblessness is the number one reason formerly imprisoned people end up back in jail. Cornbread Hustle is trying to make a difference with this at-risk population. Founder Cherrie Garcia and her team believe that people with criminal records deserve to find meaningful, full-time work with companies that see value in second chance hiring. Let's watch.
I'm 3 years sober. I started Cornbread Hustle 5 years ago. So that's 2 years that I was running this business on nothing but alcohol and my own self-will.
I hustle and motivate. Follow me, I know the way. Grind hard on them every night and day. And the 40 bang hard in the air, I don't play. I aim for the neck of the juggler. So no people think I'm a smuggler. Don't get it confused, bro, I'm just a hustler. Been in the gym, so I got my muscle up. I'm straight from the bottom. Put on the gas, yeah, that's the throttle. I get the smash cause I get the model. These people mad cause I get the mile. I'm changing lanes in my auto. Get to the bag is my motto. I'm coming up cause I stay down. Grind so hard, I don't know about you. Tired of waiting, I'm running out of patience. I'm about to make my move right now.
One of the first things I tell people when they come in is, do you have a background? And they're like, well, yeah. And so, well, let me tell you about Cornbread Hustle. Every single person who works at Cornbread Hustle has a background. I've been to prison twice. The last time I went to prison was for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And then they instantly, the floodgates open and they just start telling me everything about themselves.
There's good hustle and bad hustle.
Hustle means to me to do whatever it takes to get what you want. Then when you get knocked down, to get back up and try again.
When you're in a position like where I'm at, you start at the bottom. They know you're a convicted felon. So you have to basically hustle to get where you want to be.
Yeah.
My name is Cherrie Garcia, and I am the CEO of Cornbread Hustle.
Cornbread Hustle is a staffing agency for second chances. We employ people who are coming directly from prisons and jails and give them a sustainable living.
I believe everybody has a gift from God, whether you know it or not. I absolutely know my gift: innovation and entrepreneurship. And so I was telling a mentor one day that I used to be a meth addict, and he looked at me and he was like, have you ever heard of the prison entrepreneurship program? And I was like, no, but prison entrepreneurship? Tell me more. And so he told me that I could go into prison and volunteer and teach men in prison how to write business plans. And so that's where I found my purpose, to help people coming out of prison find meaningful employment or become entrepreneurs.
I was in prison for 3 years. It's difficult because while you're in there, you come up with the perfect game plan as to what you're gonna do when you get out. And then when you get out and you try to execute that game plan and you start getting shut down right away because of your record or what you've done, the mistake you've made, it starts to get discouraging. And I'll get the second interview, then get to the third interview to only find out, hey, we can't hire you because of company policy, your felony, automatically disqualifies you. So when you're facing that challenge time after time again, you start wondering like, man, why am I even trying? Or maybe I should just go back to what I was doing before.
I kept cold calling businesses, and I was like, hey, I have this guy ready to work, and I'd list all the great things about him. And they'd be like, okay, and I'd be like, there's a catch. They just did 20 years in prison for murder, but he's a nice guy. He won't hurt her to fly. He's a big old teddy bear. I'll come to the interview with him. And people got hired one by one.
I had been trying to get an interview with the company I work for now for maybe about a month or so. And they finally called me and said, hey, we'll give you an interview. And I almost didn't go because of my background and thinking they weren't going to give me a chance because I had a felony on my record. And after talking to some people that I trusted, Cherrie being one of them, came back to Dallas and got the interview, and they gave me the job. Her showing me that first she meant what she said, and then second, she delivered, and then she had hope in me. Like, she put her name out there for me, not really knowing if I was gonna make her look bad or do good. And that kind of like gave me the confidence that, hey, if this person believes in me, then I gotta believe in myself more.
I started just pouring into other people, telling other people what they need to do to get their business started. And then as I poured into all those people, I filled myself up, not with the Lord, but with alcohol. The first 2 years of running Cornbread Hustle, it was like I was looking at my life like it was chess at a bird's eye view, and I was moving the pawns. But looking back, I was in control of nothing. New Year's Eve comes around. I was like, nope, I'm gonna start the new year with good intentions. And so I decided to go to church. Not because I wanted to, but because it was the only place that I knew that there wouldn't be any alcohol. The pastor said something that just really stuck out to me. He said, this is the year of second chances. When people talk about feeling the Holy Spirit, I never knew what they meant, but I felt it. It was the beginning to my surrender. I still didn't understand what the Lord was trying to tell me. It was like I was arguing back and forth with my dad. Like, no, you don't take all my pride now. Don't take all my ego now. I need some of that to keep building what I've done. And he's like, you haven't done anything, Cherrie. Give me everything and I'll build it. If you can imagine, my entire company changed. I now had no choice. I was like, guys, I gotta get wisdom from the Bible.
Just looking at what she was and what she is now, her leadership style is so unique. I know without a doubt that I can trust in Cherrie because she trusts in the Lord.
Today, my role as a leader is to show up for myself, show up for God, and show up for my employees. Loving others looks like sometimes discipline and accountability. Loving others looks like grace. It's having that discernment. It's being obedient to God. It's talking to God before you make decisions. Being a leader also means surrounding yourself with other leaders and bringing people in that are good at things that you're not good at, and letting go and delegating.
Seeing Cherrie be obedient absolutely empowers me to be obedient to God, to further His kingdom. I love my job because I know this is exactly what the Lord wants me to be doing. I know that I'm supposed to be relating to people who are exactly where I used to be. I came out and had no hope of where to work. In fact, I worked at a Subway for 9 months making $7 an hour, and that's whenever I got hired with Cornbread Hustle.
My whole life I've been cooking. Even as a child, you know, I was always in the kitchen with my mom and dad. My dream job would be to own a food truck. Seeing my father always have the finer things made me want them, but I didn't want to work for him. I decided that going down the easy road for me would be faster, but at the same time, it's not always worth the consequences. Starting at the age of 18, I've done about 15 years of my life in prison.
When I first got out of prison, I was working as a server, you know, mainly making tips, staying in a house with about 5 other people.
I started working at the white plant, which we basically make paint. The old plant manager told me, he says, Carlos, you can cook, so if you can read a recipe, you can batch. Now that I have all the right components, my life is going in the right direction.
Now I have a job that allows me to pay my own rent for my own apartment. Able to support my kids a lot more. Not worried about what's my next check gonna look like. They don't only try to put you in a job, they put you somewhere where you're gonna be a good fit. Cornbread Hustle is not worried about making a buck off the employee. They're worried about the employee going to make a buck for themselves and doing something with their lives. And I think that's what separates them from the rest.
I wanted to focus on fixing other people so I could avoid fixing myself. And it wasn't until I learned all these lessons and surrendered that God taught me that I cannot change the world until I change myself. I've always had ideas. I've always known how to make money. I've always started businesses. Now it's from purpose, obedience, and it's so much better on this side. It's so much better. In the last year, we've hired over 1,000 people that have a criminal record. And that really makes me emotional.
Studies have shown that those with a criminal conviction can often make the best employees. In fact, they're retained at higher rates than those with no criminal records. This saves on costs associated with hiring and training, which can be as much as $4,000 per employee, and companies that hire people with criminal convictions can often take advantage of tax breaks. More than these financial benefits, faith-driven entrepreneurs like Cherrie know that everybody has a gift from God, whether they know it or not. We're all gonna make bad decisions. For some of us, our mistakes come with significant consequences like jail time, but incarceration shouldn't disqualify us from receiving God's grace and mercy. How might you surrender your business to God in such a way that you can show kindness and understanding to those who are on the fringes of society? How can you be in the business of second chances? What does it look like to change yourself before you change the world? Talk about this session in your group and how it relates to the journey you're on. Open yourselves up to learning from one another. Be transparent and honest with each other. What you get out of this time together will only be as enriching and life-giving as what you put into it. See you next time.